Oh, how's it going? It sure has been a while. I mean, I said I'd return in, January, and then my first video after that came in late May. So, yeah. So, a lot's happened, and I'd like to thank every one of my subscribers because I've got, I think it's 1,300 or so now, so that's a great effort, so give yourselves a pat on the back for that. But, yeah, with all these new subscribers, I reckon I'm going to have to start uploading quite consistently. Without further ado, I'm going to get into my 2020 Afl Ladder Predictions. Now I know what you're thinking. It's round 2. It's in the middle of round 2 of matter of fact. But, I mean, a lot has happened since round 1 and round 2, so give me some slack. But, yeah, I reckon without further ado, let's get into my predictions, shall we? Now again, I'm sorry it's a bit late, it's round 2. You've probably seen the majority of the teams play a decent amount of footy by the time this video is uploaded, but I'll do my best to rank the teams how I feel they would have been at the start of the season, before the season has started. Now, to get the ball rolling, I reckon there's 3 teams that just don't stand a chance in the season 2020. So those 3 teams, in 18th position, I've actually got the Adelaide Crows, 17th position the Gold Coast Suns, and 16th position the Sydney Swans. Now, I'm just putting a line through these teams. I do not see these 3 teams going any further than where I have put them for this season. Let's start with the Crows. The Crows are in all sorts. They sacked their coach for no reason. They're just not in a good space. So I've put the Crows in last because I truly believe they're the worst team in the competition this year. Gold Coast, they've got a bit going for them. They're on the up, but still, they can't compete with some of the rest. And in 16th position, Sydney Swans. So Sydney, they've been great for so long, but I just don't see Sydney going any further than 16th this year. All their greats have either retired or moving clubs. It's just a new era at Sydney right now, and I just don't see them finishing any higher than 16th. Now here is where the competition, I'm calling it here, I reckon it's going to be the closest competition we've had on record. So from about 15th to 7th, I reckon every club from 15th to has a chance of making it into the top 8. So I've got 15th position, we've got the Hawthorn Hawks. Now, Hawthorn are a great side, don't get me wrong, they're a good side, but I just don't see them finishing any higher than 15th. 14th position, I've got Freo. So Freo are one of the Western Australian clubs. I do feel kind of bad for the Western Australian clubs with their restrictions and not being able to play at home. They've been sent up to the sunny Gold Coast. Might be the first decent football played on the Gold Coast for a while. But yeah, Freo in 14th position, I reckon they're a good side. They're up and coming. I wouldn't rule them out. They could beat some very high quality teams this year, especially with Nat Fyfe running the midfield. But that's kind of where it stops. Nat Fyfe running the midfield. There's not much more to Freo than Nat Fyfe. You've got, I have to say, Michael Walters is great in the forward line. Rory Lobb will make a great addition into the as a tall key position player. But then that's as far as I see him going. I don't see him going any higher than 14th. The 13th position, I've got the Melbourne Football Club. Now, Melbourne, they're a funny club. I mean, they were in the prelim 2 years ago, and then last year they finished 17th, and that's just absurd if you ask me, because you don't see many teams finishing top 8, making the prelim, and then finishing 17th. So that's just crazy. So I do believe Melbourne still have the core of a good team. Most of their team have played finals football and were in that team that they played in the prelim. Coming back from 17th is not an easy road. So I'll give them 13th. I'll put them at 13th, but they'll have an alright season, I reckon. The old D's. Now in 12th position, I've got the Carlton Blues. The old baggers. So I really like what the Blues have got going on, and I've liked what they've been doing for the last couple of years now. For the Blues this year, I reckon it could be a bit of a breakout year. They've been down the bottom of the ladder for the last couple of years. They've been giving fans a bit of hope. And this year I reckon they'll really show what they're capable of with Cripps leading the whole team on field and the new coach David Teague leading them off field. I really do believe Carlton are on their way to where they want to be. and Cripps and T, two men that will lead Carlton to where they want to be, but for now, I reckon Carlton finishing 12th is probably the best. Now from here on in my ladder predictions, I did find it quite difficult ranking the teams because it's just going to be so close. In 11th position, I have the Port Adelaide Football Club. And Port Adelaide, they're a good side. Like, they've got plenty of good players, but I just don't see them being as one of the elite teams of the competition. They're just not quite there yet. In 10th position, I've got the North Melbourne Football Club now, and North Melbourne, they're probably pretty stiff to be in 10th position on my rankings because they're a high quality side. Like, watching them play round one, they did get they had a really, really shaky start to the Saints, but the way they fought back just shows the skill level they have and the abilities they have in amongst their team. So I do believe they're a decent side, and they could very well finish higher than 10th. This is just my prediction. But for me, North Melbourne, they're going to have a great year. They're going to have a good year with new coach Reece Shaw. So I reckon that'll lift the culture up a bit in North Melbourne. But yeah, I just see North finishing 10th this year. Now, in 9th position, narrowly missing the finals, I do believe, is Essendon Football Club. Now Essendon, they're a good side. Don't get me wrong. I feel like I'm saying this for every side in the top, 15. So there's a lot of good sides around this season. But Essendon finishing 9th, that's where I see them finishing. I mean, they've got a great list. They've got great management. Essendon, yeah, I just don't know really what to say. They'll just finish 9th. Now, here we are, the top 8. Let's get this started, eh? In 8th position, this may seem quite controversial to some, but I do believe that the St Kilda Football Club will be finishing 8th and making a finals berth after 9 years this season. They've had a brilliant off-season in the trade period, picking up 6 elite footballers, amongst those Brad Hill and Zach Jones. But with the shortened quarters and the new youth and new look St Kilda team with Brett Ratton coming aboard, I reckon they're just going to be an explosive side this year, and they'll surprise a couple. They'll surprise lots of the AFL world this year. And I've got the Saints finishing in 8th position. They'll have a great year, and I believe that they can knock off every team that I have finishing below them. Coming in at 7th position, I've got the Western Bulldogs. Now, the Western Bulldogs, much like the Saints, I reckon the shortened quarters will favour the way the Bulldogs play, because they're a young team, and they're also another explosive team that will really get really quick starts against in most of their games in 2020 season. So I've got the Dogs coming in at 7th. I think they finished 7th last year too, so not much change with how the Dogs play from last year. But yeah, with their young and, don't get me wrong, very talented midfield, I do believe the Dogs can finish 7th this season. Now in 6th position, I have the Brisbane Lions. Now I reckon some people would have Brisbane Lions ranked a bit higher than 6th, but for me, I just first of all don't see them beating anyone that I've ranked higher than them this season. And I reckon they had a pretty disappointing final series last year, going out in straight sets in the finals after finishing 2nd. So they did a very good job to finish where they did last year, but I don't reckon they can finish as high as they did last year. I really would like to see Brisbane go deeper into September and actually win a final, because they're a great side. Like, they're an explosive, young, great side. And I get around them, really. So, yeah, Brisbane finishing 6th. I hope they finish higher, but I really don't see them finishing higher than 6th. In 5th position, I have the Geelong Football Club. Now, Geelong, they've been great for ages. Like, don't get me wrong. They'll always be finishing in September. They've got a great midfield. They'll always be a contender for the AFL. But they just never seem to prevail to where they want to get into a grand final. So, Geelong finishing 5th. They'll go deep into September and no doubt lose another final. So, yeah, Geelong finishing 5th. On to the top 4. In 4th position, I have the GWS Giants. Now, the Giants are a great side. I've said that about everyone, jeez. But Yeah, so the Giants, they grand finalists last year. I reckon they definitely got a bit stage fright on grand final day, the poor Giants. They got absolutely... words can't even describe what they had to go through on that grand final day last year. That was rough. Like, jeez. But GWS are an elite side, and I do see them finishing deep into September, but I don't see GWS ever winning a grand final, at least for a while, and at least until they learn to play at the MCG, because far out, they got their ass kicked last year, like, phew. But yeah, GWS finishing fourth, they have a ripper season, they'll probably make it to the prelim, possibly the grand final, but I don't see them winning the flag, so yeah, it's GWS fourth position. In third position, I have the West Coast Eagles. Now West Coast, again, they're an elite side and they're a genuine contender for the flag, as they showed in 2018. They're a grand final side and they have proven that they can win grand finals, and I do believe that they are still capable of winning the grand final this season. They'll have a ripper year. Unfortunately, they have to play on the Gold Coast, but I think the climate in the Gold Coast will suit the West Coast, because the climate in Gold Coast and the climate in Perth are quite similar, but I think West Coast will quickly adapt to playing in the hub on the Gold Coast, and they will still prove to be an elite side in 2020. So I have faith deep into September in 2020. Well, not September, it's probably November, but they'll go deep into the finals, that's what I meant to say. Now in second position, I have the reigning premiers, the Richmond Tigers. Now, I mean, Richmond could finish first or second. They're the reigning premiers. They're arguably the best team in the competition. They're the elite of the elite side. They've got everything on their team is functioning as it should be right now. So, and their premiership window is wide open. So I've got Richmond finishing second in the 2020 AFL season. Yeah, I reckon they can go deep into finals. I wouldn't be surprised if they made the grand final again, but winning it may be a bit more challenging this year, because there are a lot of teams that could challenge the Tigers in 2020. And finishing first, the minor premiers of 2020, as much as it pains me to say, it's the Collingwood Football Club. Now, watching Collingwood play against Richmond on Thursday night, as much as it was an absolute horrible game, watching the way they moved the football throughout the game, especially in the first half, it was just mind-blowing, the silkiness that Collingwood played with. They were playing like an elite football club. And I do believe Collingwood will be the minor premiers. As much as I hate to say it, I do believe they are capable and will finish first in 2020. So there we have it. My 2020 AFL ladder predictions. As much as the AFL season is it's just quite frankly absurd this season, just the way what we've had to go through. So there's me ladder predictions. That's what I feel every club will finish this year. And I'm not going to do a premiership prediction or anything in this video. I might make another video further down the track with hopefully the season still going by then. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like down below and comment what you thought of the video. So yeah, if you're not subscribed, I highly recommend subscribing. It's a great lifestyle decision to subscribe to my channel, and you won't regret it. So yeah, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because you really won't regret doing both of them. So yeah, I'll see you around.